Hello everyone, it's Amity Sensei. Today's tutorial will be on how to use the iPad and the mouse. My previous video was a demonstration on how to use a trackpad with the iPad, but today I'll be explaining about the mouse. We'll be using this magic mouse today. I experimented using the mouse with a variety of apps, which I want to show you today. First of all though, the trackpad and the mouse can be used with the iPad only if your device is updated to iOS 13.4. This update can be done not only on the newly released iPad Pro, but for instance the iPad Air or other iPad generations. So please make sure to update your iOS if you're interested in using the external devices such as the trackpad and the mouse. Alright, let's begin. I'll first explain how to connect the mouse. Open Settings and proceed to the Bluetooth setting. After turning on the mouse, Magic Mouse will appear as an option at the very bottom. When this label moves up after selecting it, it means that the connection is done successfully. A pointer will appear on the iPad screen. As for further settings of the mouse, go to the General category of Setting and proceed to Trackpad and Mouse. This is where you can set details. For instance, at the very top, you can adjust the speed of the mouse. Adjusting towards the left or the turtle icon makes the movement very slow. In contrast, the rabbit icons makes the movement very fast. Below that, we have natural scrolling. When this is turned off, and for instance if I go to Safari and scroll using one finger, the screen moves down in the same direction. In contrast, when this is turned on, scrolling downwards would make the screen move in the opposite direction. So set this to whichever direction you prefer. I have mine turned off. There are two options below, tap to click and click sub button with two fingers, but these are for the trackpad, so you can ignore them for now. At the very bottom, we have this option for the mouse called click sub button, so please select that. This is an option to control the operation of the right click function. I set this as right. So if I right click on an app icon for instance, a sub-menu will appear. This goes the same when using Safari. A menu category will appear when viewing a website. So this option can be decided depending on whether you want this menu bar to appear or not. Let's move on to gestures on the home screen. If you swipe the top of the mouse towards the right or left with one finger, you can move between different pages on your home screen. If you swipe left on the first page of the home screen, a widget will appear. Here there are quick shortcuts, or you can also check the battery status. Next I'll talk about the dock, which refers to a list of app icons that are shown at the bottom of the screen. If you move your pointer towards the bottom to open an app, the dock will appear. Selecting an app on the dock will let you open a new app on the spot. If you move the pointer all the way down, it'll take you back to the home screen. I'll try again here. Make the dock appear and keep dragging the pointer downwards. There is another way to move back to the home screen, which is to simply click on the home bar that can be found at the bottom of the screen. This may be a smarter way with less movement. If you pull this home bar upwards while long-clicking it, a list of the apps open will be displayed. You can access other apps by clicking on them from this list. If there are any other apps you want to close, swipe up on the mouse using two fingers. To show the search bar, swipe up using one finger on your mouse, typing any words you want to search here. There's also something called Control Center, which can be accessed by moving the pointer towards the top margin of the screen. They appear from the top, just like a curtain. Another way to do this is to click on the top left corner where you can see time and date. Likewise, if you click on the battery icon that can be found at the top right corner, the control panel will appear. You can turn on or off the Wi-Fi or adjust the brightness of the screen here. If you long tap the Wi-Fi icon, detail menu options will appear where you can connect to a different Wi-Fi network. Here you can view a list of devices your iPad can connect to for Bluetooth. This part is very useful, so please remember. Let's move on to the split view function. When you select a different app from the dock and drag it to the right side of the screen like this, the screen will be split. Right now we have Safari on the left side and the app called Behance on the right. You can also swap the position of these two apps. If you want to view a different app, you can drag the app icon from the dock again. The proportion of this split view can be adjusted by dragging the axis between the two screens. Another function similar to slide view is slide over. It lets you drag a different app on the screen and place it on top. Right now we have the Safari app on top of the App Store app. You could also drag it upwards, but by moving your pointer towards the right edge of the screen, the slide over will appear. Repeating this process would make it disappear. We had to do this with our fingers before, but now we can use the mouse. This is similar to how we were able to see a list of all apps open on the iPad. If you slide the home bar towards the right or left by a long click in it, you can also switch between apps that are open specifically for the slide over view. This is also quite useful. You can also use your hands for this, and that actually might be easier. There's also a way to simultaneously use the slide view and the slide over functions. Let's drag any app from the dock to the middle line. If you release it there, the app will appear either on the right or the left side of the screen on a split view. This means that 3 apps are open on the screen at the same time. The difference between a split view and a slide over is that for a split view, it can be used when multitasking, but for the slide over, it comes in handy when skimming through the screen. Now I'll talk about specific apps. I have Safari open. When I scroll either with 1 or 2 fingers downwards on the mouse, the screen will also move downwards. What I really like about Safari is how the pointer is displayed. Right now I'm on WordPress, where tabs are located on the left side. When I move the pointer on top of this tab, a submenu will appear. Can you see? It used to click on the link itself instead of showing me this submenu before when I click on the tab using my fingers, and even when I tried to open the submenu, it didn't really work well. But with the mouse, we can easily have the submenu appear. I personally really like this function. The same can be done on the trackpad, but this was something we couldn't do before, so I find it such a great improvement. So for example, when I try to write a blog on WordPress, I can do it very easily with the help of trackpad and mouse. I don't have to touch the screen every time to move the pointer. I can now use the mouse to select text partially. If you want to include an image file, you can open your camera on slide over To drag and drop the image onto WordPress, once the image is uploaded, I can now paste it onto my blog. This really helps me be more productive. Even though I've stopped writing blogs recently, if I've known about this function earlier, I've definitely been more into blogging. Right now, I'm focused on creating YouTube videos, so I won't be writing a blog for a while, but I would definitely want to come back and write again at some point. The mouse is also perfect for creators. For instance, when creating design for presentation slides on Keynote, or when using any apps for affinity design or graphic design, it comes in really handy. If you double-click on the image you posted, it can be trimmed. This kind of work can be a hassle when using your fingers on the touch panel, but with the mouse it can be done easily. It used to be a little difficult to type in text on Keynote. For instance, if I type in text here, and if I wish to change the size, there's a category that lets me do that here. But it can be a hassle to adjust details on the touch panel, especially when having to click multiple times to change the text size. But with the mouse, we can just keep clicking on the plus button to make the text bigger. This is really useful, and I highly suggest using the mouse to those who use Keynote on a regular basis. The Keynote is also great when creating photo galleries. First, I place a rectangle. The size adjustment can be done easily with the mouse. I can copy and paste this with Command C and Command V on the keyboard. Since the same object is pasted, I'll put it right beside it. The Keynote has a great function, so it's great to see them line up nicely. Now I want to adjust the size for all three rectangles, but rather than doing it individually, I want to do them all together. On Keynote, group all of them, and after selecting the three rectangles, click on Group. Now I can reshape the rectangles all at once. I'll then copy and paste this again and position it right below. Once the 6 rectangles are aligned, I'll deactivate the grouping function. Select and click on Ungroup Objects. This repeating process of selecting and long tapping to drag objects can be done better with the mouse for sure. On the trackpad, you have to use your fingers all the time, so they might get tired. But with the mouse, you can use your entire hand to apply pressure. So I highly suggest using a mouse when working on graphic works. To explain what I'm doing right now, I have my File app open on Slide-Over, selecting photos I want to paste onto the rectangles. By dragging the image within the frame of the rectangle, the photo will automatically fit in. You can adjust the size and position later on. Like this, a very fashionable gallery view can be created. You can also choose to change the background color later on. A black background would make a very cool and neat looking gallery. Going beyond, I could add a logo to make it look more official. Please give this a try. Let's move on to Lightroom. Unfortunately, the scrolling function of a mouse is not supported by the Lightroom, so you have to use your fingers to do that. What I really like about it instead is when having to control the sliders in the Lightroom. Since the Lightroom has many functions, the sliders are typically tiny, so controlling them with your fingers on the touch panel can be difficult. With the mouse though, I can control a small pointer easily, so I really like that. If I want to make changes within a specific area, the Apple Pencil will do. There's a function called Partial Adjustment. If I want to make changes only to the 3 humans standing in the front, for instance, I can select the section by using a brush and make detailed changes only within that selected section. Again, I'll use the mouse to make adjustments to the slider. You can be a lot more productive once you learn how to make use of the mouse and the Apple Pencil for different uses, so please try photo editing using this method. I'll move on to an app called LumaFusion. This is an app that I often use to edit videos. Although I thought I would use the mouse a lot on this app, I realized they don't work well together. For example, swiping right and left on the mouse with one finger will move the timeline like this. But there's no way for me to zoom in and out with the mouse, even when I use two fingers. On the Mac Premiere Pro, moving the pointer while pressing this Option key makes this possible. But the iPad doesn't have such a function, and I really want to know if you happen to know any other ways to do this. But for now, I think using the trackpad is better when using LumaFusion on an iPad. It's easier to drag a particular clip and move it with the mouse, but other than that, it's not quite advanced yet. At last, accessibility in settings lets you set details on the mouse. From pointer control, there are many options. For instance, if you turn on Increase Contrast option, the color that highlights text when moving the pointer on top of it will become darker. This is when it's turned off, but when you turn it on, can you tell how the color got darker? If you turn on the automatically turn off the pointer option, the pointer will disappear 2 seconds after moving it with the mouse. For some reasons, mine isn't fading right now, but anyway, when it's turned on, it should go away. So if you don't want it to be on the screen all the time, please turn it on. I have it turned off, as it's easier to explain things on the screen with a pointer. For color, you can set the color of the pointer. If I set blue or maybe red, you see the outline on the pointer color. Please try this out if you prefer to have color. The slider below adjusts the thickness of this outline. Below that, we have the size of pointer. It can be made bigger or smaller, like a tiny bean. For animation of pointer, for instance, you can see that as I'm moving the pointer on top of the app icon of the dock, it's only reacting a little. But by turning this on, it reacts better as the icon is shown much larger in size. It's easier to tell the difference, but if you want these effects, have this option turned on. The inertia scrolling is an option for the trackpad, so please ignore it for now. If you want to know more about it, please check out my tutorial on the trackpad. Below that, we have scrolling speed, which lets you control the scrolling speed when doing so with one finger on the mouse. It's currently set as the slowest. When this is set at the maximum level, we can scroll all the way down very fast. Okay, that's all for the tutorial. What do you think? This video mainly focused on the use of tools for creators, so I haven't really covered apps that can be used for office work. But the mouse can also come in handy when using spreadsheet programs such as Excel and Numbers when selecting multiple cells at once, for instance. I didn't cover this in today's video since I don't use them often, but please try it out if you're interested. I've completed a series of tutorials for the trackpad and the mouse. It was quite challenging to make these videos, but I hope it was worth my effort. Please give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you for watching my video. Bye bye.